What is up, everybody? Welcome to PE with Coach Wood. Today, I'm going to be teaching you another game where we can social distance. Now, this game is one of my favorite games. It is called Look Up, Look Down. Look up, look down. This game is incredibly simple, but it's a game that brings in competitiveness and makes kids really get involved, and it's a lot of fun. And also can be very, very awkward. But it's gonna be fun. Tell your kids to push through it. So what's gonna happen is this. You're gonna have your kids get up and make a massive circle around the gym. So each kid should be socially distanced. It should be about 6 feet apart on each side, all right? So what I tell my little kids to do all the time is if they back up and they stand and they make a helicopter and they touch someone, they're way too close. Now, social distancing, if they do that, make a helicopter, and they even come close to touching, they're even too close. So they gotta spread out. So, when they're spread out in the massive circle, what I typically do is I start off in the middle and I explain the game. The game is incredibly simple. To start, everyone looks at the ground. You say 1, 2, 3, up. You look up, and when you look up, you must be looking at someone in the circle. You must be looking at someone in our beautiful circle. Now, what I make them do is my older kids, usually they're very honest and they'll look up and they'll look at someone. But for my littler kids, what I make them do is I make them look up and point at the person they're looking at. Because a lot of times what you have is someone will look up and they'll do this and this and this. Oh, like, oh, that person's looking at me. Oh, I'm gonna look around. So I would say 1, 2, 3, up, point and look at someone. So you must be looking at someone in the what? In the circle. Now, you do not want the person you're looking at to be looking at you, because if so, you two are gonna be out, and I'm gonna explain that in a minute. So, let's say, for instance, that you're a part of the circle. We have all of our imaginary friends around us in a massive circle. All right? Wow, this is getting kind of weird. Anyways, I look down, 1, 2, 3, up, boom. We happen to be looking right at each other, all right? So typically in this game, we are out, so we can just sit down or something, but I don't like people being out in PE. I always want them involved. So what's going to happen, we point at each other, we're both out. What we're gonna do is we're gonna step out of the circle and we're gonna do an exercise. Whether that's push-ups, we can do 5 push-ups, 10 jumping jacks, 10 air squats, 5 burpees, whatever you want to do. I usually give them options and I say, hey, when you're out, you can do these different exercises. If you get out once, you do push-ups. The next time, hey, do either sit-ups or do a 30-second plank or do something like that. I give an option where they can do whatever they want and then they can come back in. All right. Now, I also have them, to make it competitive, like I said, what I do is I have them keep track of how many times they got out. All right. And at the end of the game, whoever got out the least, they win. And believe it or not, they get crazy competitive with this. And it gets really fun because you're ending up, there's strategy involved in it. You're pointing at people, you're looking at people that you don't normally look at, you're all laughing, you're all having a good time. It is a lot of fun, all right? And it gets a lot of kids out of their shell. Now, what I also typically do when I play this game, I usually, if I have a couple different games that day, I will have this game at the very end of class. And what I'll do is, after we've done all these different activities, we've ran around, we're breathing hard, all this fun stuff, when we do this, it's kind of a cool down game. At the very last round we play, if they get out, I'll make them sit down, and this is typically with like maybe a couple minutes before we have to line up or leave. And I'll have them sit down, and the kids get crazy competitive. And it's really funny when they get out and then they sit down. And if you sit down, all right, at this point, if you make them sit down and they're out, you cannot look at those people, all right? And I will also say this, you're gonna get some kids, when you say 1, 2, 3 up, they're gonna stare at the ceiling. You say 1, 2, 3 up, they're gonna like look off into space. Those kids, I usually say, oh, all right, you're out. Do 5 push-ups and then come back in. And they'll say, but no one was looking at me. And I'll say, but you were looking at no one. So be sure they're looking at someone. And there's always gonna be kids that try to get out of it, but typically you're going to catch them, or the person that they were looking at and then looked away, they're gonna be honest and be like, hey, you're looking at me and you are out. All right, so preach honesty. Honesty, honesty, honesty. So, ladies and gentlemen, look down. 1, 2, 3, look up. Look down. 1, 2, 3, look up. Hope you enjoy. Peace.